this is Jeffrey Milburn, and this is the Omni Art Salon number 287. In this podcast, I wanted to share some insights into a very pervasive value we hold dearly in the United States that has led to civil war, cultural wars, and conflicts within families, communities, states, regions, and even globally. It is the question of equality. Since the beginnings of the nation, equality has been a bedrock value, first espoused by the founding father George Mason in his extraordinary creation of the Virginia Constitution, which included the very first draft of the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which was later transferred by Thomas Jefferson into both the Declaration of Independence and then later into the first form of the first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution. A powerfully brilliant and quiet man, George Mason was arguably the country's most important founding father, as Mason focused on fundamental truths regarding the purpose of life and articulated that purpose in profound and timeless writings that transformed human history. When George Mason penned the Virginia Declaration of Rights, these are his immortal words. All men are by nature equally free and independent, and have certain inherent rights of which they cannot deprive or divest their posterity, namely, the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property, and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. Mason chiseled into the granite of human consciousness these carefully considered declarations that were absolutely universal and true in every sense. Thomas Jefferson would transfer this carefully scribed immortal text into the Declaration of Independence, but with fatal changes that to this day remain embedded in our national psyche and perpetuate the myth and an ethos of social justice and sameness for all. All men are by nature equally free and independent became all men are created equal, and have certain inherent rights became have certain inalienable rights. At first glance, these seem like minor adjustments, but in effect, these seemingly small changes in word use took the truly universal truth of Mason's original statements and deconstructed them into deception. Let me be clear here. Individual humans are by nature equally free and independent, and as such should and must have equal rights under the law. However, and it's a big however, individuals certainly are not nor ever have been equal in any other way. In fact, they are most divinely and beautifully unique and diverse, and this glorious feature of human life should be embraced and celebrated, for each individual's uniqueness is their greatest gift to life. For intelligence varies, physical appearance and ability varies, talents vary, dispositions vary, and every other human trait is an expression not of equality, but of diversity, difference, and uniqueness. When Mason's perfected words, all men are created equally free and independent, were basically mangled by Jefferson into all men are created equal, Jefferson enthroned a deception into a founding document that has never been corrected and could arguably be one of the main contributors to centuries of conflict trumped up by fervent believers who pursue the leveling of humanity into a dull sameness that is the enemy of truth, robbing us of our divine birthright of individuality. Make no mistake, equal treatment under the law is essential for a just system. That is not what I am saying. But stating that all men are created equal has been twisted into the great leveler that destroys individuals and freedom because it simply is not true. The power of incorrect words can be fatal. Historian R. Carter Pittman, whose extensive research into the defining moments of our nation's founding period, believed that the reason that Jefferson oversimplified Mason's essential words was to garner support for the American Revolution from the French and others whose chief characteristic was that they were, quote, born of bondage, and so that they could feel better than they could think, end of quote, and for this reason would not have comprehended the subtleties of Mason's concepts and would respond to the more emotional appeal of bringing down the arrogant aristocracy with a "I'm as good as you" persuasion. Well, this could very well be true, and unfortunately it sounds a lot like public relations today, where using language as a weapon of obfuscation and manipulation is practiced daily. Chaos appeals deeply to the disenfranchised and oppressed, even if their disenfranchisement and oppression is chiefly a product of their own consciousness and beliefs. We can so easily become our own worst enemies and project our imaginings onto any innocent bystander, as the mass shootings of children and students happening almost monthly in America clearly demonstrate. Law in America has become a sort of rich man's sport, to see who can get one over on his opponent, whatever the cost in ethics and integrity. But when the corporate media wags wealth and power and fame in your face constantly as definers of human value, well, integrity and ethics are relegated to the relic heap of a bygone naive society, appearing only in fairy tales and occasional Hollywood romantic comedies. For just imagine a world where Adolf Hitler, Albert Einstein, Charles Manson, Johann Sebastian Bach, and Nelson Mandela were all deemed of equal contribution to human history. Of course, to the thinking person, this idea is ludicrous, yet carried to the logical conclusion, Jefferson's words, "all men are created equal," means exactly that. Of course, the idea is absolutely absurd, but the effect this equality deception has had on race, gender, and class politics is far-ranging, and it looks like it will continue well into the future. The truth is that in this world nothing is equal to anything else. Not even two snowflakes are identical, and this reality is especially obvious with human beings. The highest truth is that everyone and everything must be treated as unique and of divine origin. And this high truth trumps all human inventions about equal rights and social justice. It is a decidedly different view of life to approach every sentient being as part of the divine, and as such, our entire orientation to life is transformed into an altar of respect and honor that transcends banal human manipulated legal rights. Of course, this is an idealized version of human affairs, and so laws are written and enforced in a clumsy and inaccurate way, because the consciousness of the human race is simply not evolved enough to sustain a highly developed and sophisticated human order, where endless laws are unnecessary because all are functioning with a strong sense of dharma, or the rightness of things. So we walk a narrow path, with one foot in the reality of current affairs and one in idealism and a more perfect future, forever moving forward in conscious evolution. The equality deception is just another subtle way that the negative forces have manipulated populations into thinking there is constant terrible injustice being thrust upon us, all because there is inequality between people. But the real truth is that all individuals are on their own unique path of life and inherit very distinctive karma when they incarnate. And this karma accumulated from their ancient past must be played out to fulfill their agreements for the life they now live. It is simply the divine order. Of course, we are all free to a great extent, depending on many factors, to effect change in our individual destiny. But that is another subject altogether. So you may wonder, what do we do with all this diversity swimming in a vast sea of inequality? The answer appears disarmingly simple, but in application it's not so simple. But nonetheless, here it is. Embrace life with love. The genius and hard work of Steve Jobs created the magnificent Apple line of computerized wizardry that has made our lives so much more fascinating, richer, and connected. What a blessing. Be grateful. Henry Ford invented the automobile that is capable of carrying us from coast to coast in comfort and speed. Wow, what a blessing. Be grateful. Katharine Hepburn played many sublime roles and characters that still can be enjoyed because Edward Muybridge invented film, and many directors and producers have worked together to make film masterpieces. What a blessing. Be grateful. When you stop and consider the food in your refrigerator, the travel you can enjoy, the endless books and knowledge that are available to you, the priceless miracle of the internet, the world's brain, the bounty and beauty of the natural world, the magnitude of the blessings of life are endless. We should acknowledge it, embrace and appreciate it, enjoy it, and most importantly, be grateful for it. You know, so much of what I'm talking about is the perspective that you opt to take in any moment to really see what you are looking at and perceive the great blessing that it is and to be grateful for it. It is in this way that you are enabled to overcome the deception of equality and transform yourself into the enjoyer of diversity of the divine. Thank God we are all different, diverse, and unequal. And thank God we can all appreciate each other for the unique offerings that our lives really are, both to ourselves and to others. In the highest sense, we are all participating with each other in a very connected way. And when we appreciate this with our whole heart, we touch the hem of the divine and move into a form of bliss that connects us with the eternal nature of being that permeates all of life. Enjoy all things and be grateful, for this is the true enlightenment that dispels the deception and need for equalizing everything and everyone, and instead celebrates the diversity, uniqueness, and beauty that makes life a great adventure.